Hey everybody, it's Laurencia, and you're watching See the Good, a Memphis-based platform that is dedicated to focusing on positive Black news. Today we're here with Bertram Williams Jr. He's an actor, he's a community advocate, he's a former educator, and he's going to tell us a little bit about his journey. How are you today?
Doing well. How are
Good,
you
good, good.
today?
I'm good. Thank you for coming.
My pleasure.
Before we get into the questions, we're going to do kind of like an icebreaker to get
Okay.
to know each other or whatever. So you can just pull something out of here. How's it say?
Oh no.
What is it? You want to pick a different one?
Yeah.
Okay. Which one was that?
Don't even worry about it. Too much pressure. Let's see. Finish the lyrics.
Okay, okay, cool. Let me get it up.
In case you're wondering, it was celebrity impression.
Oh, see, I wanted you to get that one. Okay, okay, okay. Finish the lyrics. Okay. It's driving me out of my mind.
It's so hard for me to find.
I'm gonna give it to you. Okay. Okay. First
That's
thing.
a singer out of my bio.
Okay, okay, okay. Got you. Rapper too, apparently. We're gonna get into that a little later
Talk
on.
about it.
Okay, next one is first things first.
First things first.
I feel like it's a couple that could go with that.
I'm the realest. Is that first things first? I'm the realest. Is that like a J. Cole joint?
J. Cole was first things first, rest in peace, Uncle Phil.
Damn.
That's what I thought you was gonna say. But it's okay. Okay, we're gonna get to the next one.
Let's pretend like I said it.
Okay, next one. Hop up out the bed.
Turn my swag up.
That's what I did this morning. All right. Last one. I don't know much about algebra.
I don't know much about algebra, but one plus one, something is
Equals
two.
equals two.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yes,
Good
sir.
enough. We gonna give it to him. We gonna let him
Shout out
have
to
him.
Beehive, yeah.
All right, all right, all right. So, just getting into it, I just want to talk about, you growing up in Memphis. What would you say your favorite thing is about being born and raised in the city?
I guess one of my favorite things about being born and raised in Memphis is like the duality that I think a lot of Memphians possess, because Memphis is a city that will really like force you to like own who you are and be confident in yourself, because we are faced with some systemic challenges, but socially it's a lot of pressure, and so
Yeah, yeah.
it almost it turns us into diamonds in a really unique way. But in addition to that, it's so much love in
Yeah.
Memphis. Like I grew up in a church setting and, played a lot of sports and really got a solid dose of what community looks like. And so it's like that pressure in addition to all of that love, I think makes Memphians a really unique breed of people.
Yeah.
People just from the region, because I know you're from Mississippi and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Technically, I'm
Yeah.
from Mississippi.
You know.
But
So
so, and I just feel like there's so much potential out here, like just in people. So, why do you think sometimes it often like goes overlooked, or do you feel like it's not like as appreciated as it could be?
I think some of it again is systemic, right? There are some forces that would like for folks who are talented, who are visionary, who are enterprising to not be able to stand in their power and their creativity, so that the majority of people will remain like subject to the powers that be.
Yeah.
And what is cool about this age that we are in is that there are folks like you, myself, and so many others who have been able to kind of break that veil and see what's possible, see what's accessible. And we are creating those opportunities locally. And so, while that has been our truth, that we've had to kind of fight through this version of systemic oppression, I see a whole lot of light. I see a whole lot of good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's a whole lot that can come out of it. And I've kind of gone by that, just you can't wait on opportunities to like come to you. You kind of have to make them yourself, especially like the industry that I'm in. But I also wanted to know, because you have your hand in so many different things. So how has Memphis shaped Bertram the actor, Bertram the community advocate, Bertram the educator?
Yeah, like in some of the ways I've spoken to, I'm a beneficiary of an arts ecosystem that has been growing in spite of the, can I cuss on here?
Sure.
In spite of the bullshit, and being able to walk in that path behind folks who have been in like leaders in theater, leaders in like the visual art spaces, it has like allowed me to see what's possible, not only for myself, but it has put a certain type of calling on my artistic journey so as to be able to lift as I climb
Yeah.
and connect with folks through art and challenge people in the way that we think and show up for each other. And so that practice has informed the way I show up in my neighborhood and my existing artist communities in this particular moment. You know, that's why I'm here.
Yeah.
Because I think that, we really benefit by building community with each other, between age groups, between races even. And one way that we do that is through art.
Yeah. And I'm glad you said like lifting as you climb, because I just wanted to point out that when people, I feel like, reach like a certain level of success, they kind of like leave their hometown or kind of forget about it. But I feel like you're like on the opposite end of the spectrum because you're more so pouring into it and trying to help. And so I appreciate it. I respect it.
I appreciate that.
So now getting into the former educator and like your education. So you did say that you went to Overton. What was that like, going to like a school for like performing arts? Because I've watched I don't know if you know the show Victorious. It was on Nickelodeon, and so like their classes, like I didn't see them take like a regular math or like a regular like social studies, something like that. So what was the dynamic like of going to a school that was like catered to that?
Yeah, it was, for the most part, a traditional education. Like we took regular ass classes, but we were fortunate in my case to have what's called a creative and performing arts block, where in my case, I was in the theater program and we spent hours during the actual school day preparing for the performances that we would put up or learning from, our instructor about the way theater has impacted the world. And additionally, it gave us something to do after school and like rehearsing for shows and performing shows. And Overton for me was a real life-changing experience because I had gone to a few other schools, just traditional schools, and it gave me the freedom to kind of lean into being weird.
Yeah.
Because again, growing up in Memphis, it's like if you're not wearing what's right and behaving a certain way, your ass getting checked.
Yeah, they own you.
Yeah, but at Overton, it really allowed the artist in me to stand solidly in like the quirkiness and being vulnerable and connecting with people who it might not have typically been cool to connect with.
That's dope. That's dope. And so after Overton, you went to the University of Memphis, alumni too, and you pledged Omega. Are you a legacy?
I'm not.
Okay, so what drew you to that organization?
Yeah, in a way, I would say that I am. Shout out to the bros, by the way. Because a lot of my coaches growing up, when I played basketball, were Omegas. And, for the majority of my life, in addition to those guys, the folks that I've seen that were Omegas showing up in entertainment or, in sports and business, I thought it's smart to pattern myself after the way those men were showing up. They represented the style of manhood that I look to like walk into. And so, yeah, I'm glad I pledged the bros again, root to the bros.
What's your favorite song to hop to?
It's a longer story than I think we have time for.
Yeah.
I guess when I was around, like I'm a Dog, the Gucci Mane chant.
Okay.
It's an easy
one to go to. Yeah. And I saw online that you were pursuing a master's degree. Are you still pursuing it?
Yeah, I will eventually finish it. I gotta, I'm so close to. I started the master's in city and regional planning program at the U of M as well, and it is in part inspired by a really simple desire to like create spaces and environments that are safe for people, specifically Black people, and additionally creatives. And so, I have pursued and I'm still working in some community development and real estate development spaces that are, inspired and informed by a lot of what I was able to learn in that program. And I'm going to finish it soon, eventually.
Is it online or is it like an in-person or is it a mix?
It was in person, and I'd imagine that it's still the same way, yeah. But I need to go finish that up.
Get back to it.
I just got busy, you know.
Yeah, it happens. I feel like it's not really a timeline on it anyway. Like I know people who like finish quicker than I did, or like that. And so education seems like obviously something that you're passionate about because you are a teacher at Crosstowns. What was that like? I know you taught Introduction to Creative Economy. So what what was that course about? First of all, how did you get the position?
First off, you giving Nardwar at this point.
Like how did you know that?
But you know, a lot of my experiences kind of working at the interstices of arts and entrepreneurship and nonprofit. It set me up to see folks who were making a living doing art business, and additionally, like we know and we've seen the proliferation of the arts economy globally. I felt it a unique opportunity to engage those students who were in this really unique school environment in those opportunities. And so I was just kicking my shit with the leadership. I was actually a part of the team that helped to found the school. And so we were able to really influence the direction of it.
Yeah.
And so they allowed me to show up fully, leveraging my experiences in hopes of inspiring the students to explore. I think that was our mascot at the time, like the Crosstown Explorers or something. But we, it's cool. Like we built out studio for podcast, video, music production, and I was able to engage a lot of my friends that work in arts and entrepreneurship spaces to come in and engage students. And so it was a really like mutually rewarding experience.
So it started in 2018, was it?
I think that's right, yeah.
So you were part of the founding like board. How long did that take to get it all together?
Yeah, it was a like maybe 3, maybe even more year process.
Wow.
And again, like I played a really small role. There were some folks, as Ginger Spickler and eventually the principal or director, Chris Terrell, who, you know, really pulled it all together, and a real community of folks who show up in a lot of spaces. But it took some years to get it going, and we graduated our first class. I think it was in 22.
That's dope. Yeah. I was wondering because the University of Memphis, they now have, I know they have middle and high on campus. I want to say they have an elementary school. Yeah. So I was just wondering like what the steps or what the process was, because I would have loved to go to school on a college campus. But obviously, like I know it's the student's job to learn, but did they ever teach you anything, or is there anything that like they told you that you kind of take on and still think about? Yeah.
Absolutely. For example, some of the music makers in the program, like they were introducing me to sounds and artists, you know, keeping me
in the know.
And there, you know, are some, and I can see their faces now, who at such a, you know, relatively young age were really passionate about issues that would bubble up to like national conversations that they were lifting up in podcasts that they were creating. I think socially, it was so cool to see such a diverse group of people really display what like friendship and vulnerability and intimacy looks like. And one of the, I guess, the greatest lessons they allowed me to, I guess, witness and participate in was like really just loving folks who come from every walk of life, background, income class, sexuality. They really modeled what it means to, this is going to sound corny, but like to exist in beloved community, because there was a bunch of different types of people in each other. So that was cool.
So they were from, because, you know, like most schools, like it's like a school zone or whatever. So were they all living in Midtown, or were they coming from like anywhere?
Right.
The
so
students.
It was a setup where there was a lottery, and folks, as I understand it, were coming from all over the city. So yeah,
that's dope. I didn't know that. So next I want to kind of pivot to Mama Sunry, which is your organization that provides goods and services to people in the community. So how did it start, and can you kind of just like explain it to people that don't really know what it is?
For sure. In 2020, my wife then she was just my little giant. So we're in the process of rebranding her. She had built an online following with the jewelry business while she was in New York. And so there's a like creative director and me, and again, an artist and entrepreneur. And so we really leaned into this idea of rebranding that enterprise to serve goods that are actually good for people. And so the premise essentially was to be like this is kind of lazy framing, but a record label for makers. We've seen in this, last 5 years, so many people who are tapping into that same energy of wanting to work with their hands and create something that will allow them to build a business, but will ultimately give folks some quality skin products or some good shea butter. And so we wanted to help make those processes more efficient for those kinds of makers. And so then was born Mama Sunry, and since we've grown it. We've been in operation for 3 years at this point and some change, and have really focused on building community and learning together primarily. And are in the process of doing some early phase fundraising to establish the product side of the business in a way that will be impactful.
Okay. And can you talk about the Hood Homestead?
Yeah, for sure. All right. So we live in South Memphis, Castelia, and that neighborhood is, really connected to my wife's side of the fam. There's more family that lives like directly up the street from us in that hood, and additionally, my father and his family have roots in South Memphis, but a little deeper south. And so we planted there because it felt like, for one, a safer space than some other spaces, because we know everybody. And because we are able to really experience a type of community that I think Black folks have been trying to get away from for whatever reason. And so we did that intentionally and have subsequently been able to share some of our practices, which is one that is like a food production and gardening practice. We converted our front yard to grow space so that we could cultivate food in front of the neighbors and invite them into that process so that we can begin to think more intentionally about what we consume and how we consume it.
Yeah, like put it in their face so they see.
Yeah, it's like performance art.
Okay. And so per the website, your expertise is agriculture. So where would you say, if you do have a love for gardening, did it start somewhere, or why is that something that like you mainly focus on?
Yeah, I think it's in my blood. My grandparents are both like farmed their entire lives. My mother's generation did it somewhat unwillingly. They left the tradition and went to take regular professions. And so, I have felt like just a unique calling to reconnect with that history. Additionally, there's like a part of me that is a survivalist, right? And I'm of the notion that if we can't feed ourselves, we gonna be fucked up. You know what I'm saying? And so a part of my like inclination to get back into that practice is literally just that, wanting to make sure we can survive.
I definitely feel like it's something that like I guess grandparents used to do. My grandma used to have a real big garden. My mama started one, but it's real small or whatever. And so she'd be showing us, look at this that just came up out the ground. It's cool. I think the whole process is so cute. And so what's your favorite thing to plant?
Lately it has been I'm gonna have to go with tomatoes. They grow and just really proliferate, and the plants get tall and they taste delicious.
So I love tomatoes. So food scarcity, it's something that not just facing Memphis, like nationally. So do you think that you guys would ever be interested in like expanding, or do you think like you just have too much work to get done in Memphis first before you can lend your hand and do something else?
Yeah. Oh, what do you mean when you say expanding?
Like helping people in other maybe like states, or even if you like start with like the Mid-South, like I don't know, go to like local like food markets or something like that, and or I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. And I appreciate the question. We do see ourselves really helping to leverage the way we show up as artists to promote the message first. We just finished a short documentary that will actually premiere in Memphis in just a couple days, where we are encouraging people like, like your mother and you and literally everybody to lean into that practice of cultivation.
Yeah.
So that's one way we're looking to, I guess, scale up the mission and the work. But also regionally, I might have mentioned that my grandparents have had a farming practice and we maintain a farm property. And so part of my goal this year is to continue to build up a collaboration with some farmers in the region to plan out at that farm property in Brownsville, Tennessee. And so that's another way we're looking to scale up the work.
Okay, yeah, because I was going to ask you about, like, the collaborations that you guys do, because I'm on you guys' page, and y'all work with, like, Tone and, like, other, like, Memphis organizations. Why do you think it's so important to, like, collab with people, like, locally, mainly, like, the businesses in Memphis, pretty much?
There's this idea of, like, ecosystem building, right? And it is quite literally the only way that we can achieve the type of impact we want. I think it's as simple as that. In this particular instance, you and this show and concept are in collaboration and in an ecosystem with my guy Cassius. Back there switching on the board, you know what I mean? And so we looking to transpose that idea into the farm and holistic product making spaces so that, again, we can lift as we climb.
Yeah. Out of curiosity, do you eat meat?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was just asking because, like, my stepdad owns, like, he has a farm and he has cattle and stuff like that. So I was wondering, like, but you already said you guys have a farm. So being interested in, like, raising your own, like, animals so that way you can feed it what it needs to be fed to, like, get the vitamins and nutrients and stuff like that. So how can people, like, support, get involved, reap the benefits of Mama Sunry?
Yeah, at present, we are in the season where we're still hosting events pretty regularly. We've got another one coming up that might sound random, but we've curated our own version of like a swap meet so that folks can exchange clothes instead of just discarding them. Because that in and of itself is a whole other issue as it relates to like landfill waste produced by the fashion industry. So we'll host one of those soon and people can come up, bring clothes and exchange clothes. That's one way you can support. We are also actively leaning into a more engaged online presence. And so clearly just by engaging online, we got Instagram and soon to be Facebook, where we are literally just creating learning communities, sharing what we're learning and hoping to learn from others. And so those are two ways that come to mind now. Deeper into the year, we'll be releasing some products in partnership with some farmers. And so, of course, we'll be excited for folks to support us in that way. But first things first, we want to keep building community.
That's dope. That's dope. Okay, now I want to transition to another hat that you wear, which is acting. So what initially, like, inspired you to get into that?
Yeah, I think as a young one, my family noticed that I had like a precocious spirit, curious and clever. And so they pushed me to perform. In some ways, my first role, I played Jesus in a church play. I was like 12, and it was like in that moment I was hanging on the cross, and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's what I want to do.
This is it."
Yeah, all these eyes on me. I'm up here doing my thing. And so that really set me on the course to act right. And so I did arts camps growing up, and eventually made it to it's a community theater, Hattie Lou Theater. I mentioned them and my mentor, Ekundayo Bedele, in literally every interview because it gave me a creative space and a creative community to own my ability as an actor. And so that's, I guess that's the long and short of how I got into it.
Okay. Were there any actors that, like, you looked up to or that you wanted to kind of incorporate in your craft?
Yeah, so the first one actually that comes to mind is this brother named Darius Wallace, who is just a brother who is based in Memphis but now working around the country, who would actually participate in some of the arts camps that we were able to access. And just seeing him, somebody who looked like me, who was a professional, but not famous necessarily, but someone who was making a living and enjoying himself as a creative. And so he inspired me. But then you got, the OGs, folks like Denzel, Washington,
Yeah.
whoever who, I remember being in elementary school and hearing the moms and stuff just fawn over Denzel. I'm like, I want some of that
What's
energy.
some of that
You know what I'm
attention?
saying? Let me get some of that.
This is the random question. I didn't even have this written down. Do you think you can play anybody in like a movie of somebody's life, like somebody that's
Biopic
yeah.
situation. Let's see. There are some figures who have like shown up in ways and who have stories that I would love to tell, but like physically, nobody.
You don't think you look like nobody?
I mean, I might.
I don't know. I really never thought about it. I'm usually always trying to match people. I got so many people in my family I feel like look like somebody famous, but I have to think about it. But, so you mentioned Hattie Lou Theater. So which do you prefer, like being on TV or being like on plays? Because I know it's probably different. Like I would imagine trying to learn lines for like an actual play is harder than trying to do it on TV because you can cut or whatever. But which do you prefer?
Yeah, at this moment, it's TV for sure. I think that not only is it an efficient, practice because, like you say, being on stage is night in, night out, hours at a time. But I do like the nuance that we can approach, like performing on screen.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my short answer.
Okay. Now getting into TV and talking about P-Valley. Katori Hall is from Memphis. She wrote the show. What was the onboarding like process? Because I know that you met her through Hattie Lou, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. So what was like the audition process? Did she reach out to you about the part of Wody, or how did that go?
Yeah, so we like you mentioned, connected at Hattie Lou. She was the artistic director when I was in the show there, and when the opportunity to be, as they were casting P-Valley, she just shot me a text encouraging me to send a tape in, which is literally just, recording the sides or the interview, not the interview, but the piece of the script.
Yeah.
To send in to the casting folks. I did that and they liked what they saw enough that they asked me to drive down to Atlanta. And so I did that and had another audition in front of the room of, producers and directors, and, the rest is history.
So the show captures so much like themes of like identity, resilience. How did you prepare to like take on that role?
Yeah, I think like we mentioned at the onset of this interview, Memphis prepared me in a lot of ways. I think that the character Wody has a kind of like, he just carries a Memphian kind of energy. Somebody who shows up in multiple spaces, wearing different faces even, but is ultimately like resolute and, essentially somebody who is like really down for his people.
Yeah.
Which is some Memphian activity. So Memphis trained me in that way. I also think that the another truth is that what you see on screen is oftentimes the result of the camaraderie that castmates are able to build. Like we're professional actors, and so we can turn it on. But what's true about the cast of P-Valley is that we genuinely mess with each other.
I can tell.
And so I think that whatever type of preparation is required to be mess-wittable, you know what I mean, lended itself to, how I showed up. And I guess lastly, from a more, a technical space, I, have been learning so much as a performer, even just about my voice, for example, and like making it so that it is, or like training myself so that I maintain a voice that is true to me, but that can be translated on screen, because there are challenges there, believe it or not. And so I guess that is one place where I sought to like really try to refine my approach.
Hey, I was gonna ask you that. Did you feel like you had to make your voice sound like more Southern for the show?
Yeah, I know that has been like a hot button issue And yeah, the way it's written, there is a certain like language in Chuckalissa and P Valley that the writers are able to tease out. And I think if you listening to and reading what they have put on the page, it does pull out a little like deeper southern, expression.
Yeah.
And so yeah, in hopes of honoring that work that they put in, like I do, as I'm thinking back, see that I, would lean in a little bit more. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Just to really kind of honor what they were trying to pull out or design for that universe.
I feel like it flowed well though, because I sat up and watched the whole like 2 seasons within like the past couple of days. I don't feel like it was like too like exaggerated. Maybe like my first go around watching it, I might have felt that way, but I think that it played into it because it's the Mississippi Delta that is trying to show. And you kind of touched on it a little bit, but are there any other ways that you think that you're similar to Wody in real life?
I think Wody is like a low-key bleeding heart. You know what I'm saying? Like a real lover.
Yeah.
And so I can relate to that. I think that I guess you mentioned having seen this last season. Like Wody showed that he's a little bit of a like killer too. You know what I'm saying?
A little bit.
Like, and I feel like I embody some of that too because like I don't play about my people. And so and I'd be, maybe not to that extent, but like I don't know,
Who knows? Right.
stand on business.
Yeah. And so I did pick up on a lot of like Memphis representation in the show. Like they use music from a lot of Memphis artists, the slang. And this second go around I actually caught that they kept calling the jail 201. Like for 201 Popular. I didn't peep that at first. So how did it feel like knowing that like you were a Memphian and that it was so much of like your hometown included in this show?
I mean, it is a supreme honor, especially because this is like my first opportunity to perform at this level and to maintain that connection with the hometown, with folks from the hometown.
Yeah.
Through Katori, like you mentioned, who's a certified North Memphian, graduate of Craigmont.
Yeah.
As is Brandy, certified Memphian, graduate of Overton High School, who are both folks that I like have so much admiration for and love for. And so yeah, it felt good for us three and a few others actually who have relationship to be building up that thing. And I think that story does justice to our region. And it's going to continue to grow, and I think it will inspire people even more as the story progresses.
And you mentioned it was Brandy who played Mercedes, and then it was Zachariah who played Pico, both from Memphis. Did you know either one of them before, prior?
So I knew of Brandy because we both went to the U of M, like you.
Yeah.
She plays Delta there, so we had that Coleman love connection with my being a Q, and so I knew of her. But no, I didn't know my guy Zach until we got to set.
Okay, cool. And then I want to talk about 2 of my favorite scenes from Wody. So one was when he popped out of the casket, and then the other one was the killing Rome scene. So let's talk about the casket one. How did you feel about like getting into it?
Yeah, it was trippy. I mean, for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
You don't want to get into that thing until you got to, but as a performer, all right, it was my first day at work. Having to do that, get into a casket. And what folks would never know is that not only was my scene partner, J. Alphonse Nicholson, who plays Lil Murder, who is my bro and supremely talented, such that, they say that iron sharpens iron.
Yeah.
There is a certain type of pressure that comes with wanting to perform well with your scene partner. So processing that, nervous as hell, don't want to be in the casket. And we had in the room with us the OG Isaiah Washington, another actor, legend in his own right, who's in there basically witnessing these performances. And so I'm in there like, it was a challenge. And so I remember laying back in that casket between takes and really like pouring into myself. And I used this trick, like a visualization, where I was literally seeing the cast and crew folks walk up to me, shaking my hand, congratulating me on the performance as I'm
Okay.
laying in the casket. And so that I think helped me to lean into the confidence I needed to, like, make it through that
Yeah.
particular scene.
No, it was hilarious, especially rushing the second time. And so the scene with Rome, what was that like? I don't know, because when I watched it even the first time that I watched it, I was like, damn. Like I feel like that set Twitter, okay, X, we gotta call it X now. Like it set it on fire. Like it was crazy. So I would assume you felt some type of like pride knowing that like you just killed it the way you did, but how did it go?
Killed it literally. Yeah, it was affirming to see that response, because you never know
Yeah.
how people, and we live in a digital age where folks gonna tell you how they really feel. And so in the execution of the scene, it was a breakout moment for my character,
For
and
sure.
really wanted to honor that. And more importantly, like as Wody, I felt good enacting that type of revenge or preventative revenge. And so, I look back on it fondly. I wouldn't change much about it. There's more. I don't know if we got enough time, but just backstory and how we got to that scene, because we had to shoot it on 2 different days.
Yeah.
The first attempt we got shut down due to like a COVID scare. We
Yeah.
were shooting the second season in the midst of COVID, and so I was thankful to get a second day to get after that scene. And
Okay.
I think it benefited
Yeah.
everybody.
I don't want to see you wink. I don't want to see one eye close. Nothing like that. And so I also wanted to ask, because you guys call you guys like a family, and it seems like you said, like y'all all really like each other, and like the bonds are really genuine. So was there anything that you can say like the funniest or the most memorable like behind the scenes moment? And I saw y'all do that little
You already know
line.
what I'm about to say, yeah.
Yeah, you can go ahead and say it.
Right. That day, I think we were rapping for the season, and so a few of us have fraternal or sorority affiliations, and they came up with this idea to P5 Pink, and to see the cast and so many crew people be able to bond,
Yeah.
and basically join up in that way was cool. I need to give you another one though, because
Because I already
you
knew that she was
knew
gonna
where
pick
I'm
that one.
coming. Yeah. Let's see. There were some moments. Oh yeah. So like, we're in a club setting, and oftentimes between takes, it's like there's music going on to encourage us. Ooh, this the one. We shot a scene with Meg Thee Stallion, which is crazy, right?
Yeah.
And so we the scene was us getting off the tour bus, walking into the club, Tina Snow and Lil Murder. And so we had made it off the bus, and the way we shoot, you get off the bus, walk, stop, get ready to do it again. And so after we made it to the front door of the club, I was sitting there talking to my guy Jay Alphonse with Murder, and Meg, she just kind of looked up. She was like, "Damn, man, your voice deep as hell. Sound like Morgan Freeman right there." And so like that, I was like, first
That's
off,
funny.
this is Meg Thee Stallion.
Yeah.
And second off, you checking ain't it?
Look, don't make me get on you.
Right.
Show you I'm from Memphis for real. So like I said, there's so much that the show tackles. You have sexuality, race, class. What do you ultimately want people to take away from the show?
I feel like it's a story of not just redemption, because every character in this story has a redeeming quality, and what I intuit is that each of those individual storylines will show us that no matter what you go through, you can find a new version of yourself and evolve. And I think that there's something empowering there. But also I think that from the Southern perspective, right, the globe has such negative things to say
Yeah.
about Southern folks, about what we're capable of. And I think that what P Valley does is show that through being in community, through being our full selves, through unpacking our trauma, through showcasing our art, we can, as Southern people, show the rest of the world the beauty in us, the literal magic that exists in us, the power of unity and community. And you know, I'm so excited to see what's about to happen in season 3 because you know, the writers have done that. They've shown how powerful we are in every character's own right, and I think in season 3 we really gonna stand on business.
Yeah. And I was gonna say, like, we all know there is a season 3 coming. There's been a little bit of chatter about it recently. I feel like I've seen a lot lately, like on Twitter, TikTok, stuff like that. So what do you hope for your character this upcoming season?
Yeah, I mean, more time on screen.
Yeah. Cough, cough.
But I want to see Wody explore himself just as I don't know, as a businessman or artist in ways that, of course, supplement the story and the work that he's already done. I want my boy to find some love.
Yeah. I've been seeing a lot about that as well.
I think Wody deserves love. And I guess more than anything, I want to continue to like look out for my people so that, you know, if we thinking through the lens of the show and its story, Miss Mississippi got in some trouble at the close of last season. I want my girl to be straight.
Oh, yeah, free her.
I want my boy Murder to turn up. You know what I'm saying? And so whatever Wody can do to support those types of things.
So you don't know anything about the upcoming thing or nothing like that? Do I? All right, I got you. So, aside from acting, you do use your voice for other things. So tell me about your audio art that you do.
Yeah, so, you know, I think it's crazy because it's random. Have my answers been too long, by the way?
No, fine.
We can edit them anyway.
No, we're not going to edit it. We're just going to keep it the same way.
But there's this guy, his name I think is Jacob Lanier, who's like, it's a wild preface, but he talks about the way that like social media platforms are behavioral modification empires, influencing the way we show up based on the way our online presences are encouraged or discouraged by our communities.
Yeah.
And so for me, and just existing on socials, I would hear that all the time. His voice. Ooh, you need to do this. Ooh, you need to do that. And so at a point, I'm like, all right, my behavior will be modified. I'm gonna do what y'all are suggesting I should do. And so that that reality, in addition to a desire, like my desire to put some good out. I think there are a lot of people creating art, creating content that is like mindless or, and that ain't, I'm not in a position to judge how anybody shows up in this life. However, I question the intention behind a lot of folks' art. And so what I've decided to do with my platform and the access that I have is to leverage my talent and voice in hopes of like bringing about new versions of wellness and content for people, just to create some variety. And so that's why I make the like meditative style content that I've been doing, because you know, for myself and so many people that I love and people just who I love in general, I know that mental health challenges exist. And some of that can be treated for with like what we listen to. And so I want to make some good stuff for folks to listen to so that everybody can feel better.
Do you, I don't know, do you post that on like TikTok and stuff, or do you, I've only seen it on like Instagram Reels.
Man, I got a TikTok. It's so slow. I need to, you know what I'm saying?
You gotta keep being consistent because people be like, I like ASMR. Like, in order for me to go to sleep, like, I don't have to have it, but like, I like, some people think it's weird. Like, I like to hear people like make noises or like eat stuff on camera or whatever. So I think it would do really, really well. Like, some people get like a whole bunch of viewers in there, and I think it could reach like a different audience.
You know what, Laurency, I'm gonna ask you to hold me accountable because people say it, and I've dabbled into it, like TikTok specifically.
Yeah.
The other stuff I release is on Patreon, but I am going to do more.
Yeah.
I'm making that claim today.
You should. I'm gonna check back about 30 days.
For sure.
We're gonna see how your TikTok is going. And also, we talked about rapping. I don't know if it was on camera or if it was before. Because I hear you rapping about vegetables like all the time, and you just be rhyming stuff. Yeah. So is that ever anything that you would like ever take seriously, or is it just for fun, like for your videos? I'm
about to turn up. There's basically a character that was born out of an exhibit that I, along with some more of my team and community members, curated last year that was centered around like food and the food system. And so in efforts to promote it, I came up with this character, Big Pharma, which is a play on, you know, big pharmaceutical industry. And my whole goal with Big Pharma is to promote eating more healthily, promote farming. But I just, you know, got clear on it in the last weeks about like who I'm beefing with, because if you in the game, you got to beef with somebody. Yeah. And so, like, right now, I'm beefing with diabetes. Okay. You feel me? Like, I do not
That's with diabetes. Okay, that's gonna just flow in, because it's a whole lot of rap beat going on anyway. Exactly. Right now. So just slide in there.
This soon, you know what I'm saying? And I'll be dropping more songs. That's Big Pharma, and that's real.
That's dope. Okay, so now I kind of want to talk about my platform, See the Good. It was kind of born out of the idea that I feel like the media, in terms of like Black celebrities, Black entertainment news, I just don't like the way that well, first of all, I don't like the way that we portray ourselves sometimes, but I also don't like the way that these media outlets go about it. I'm not going to say any names like on certain ones, but what's just your perspective or your thoughts on how Black people are perceived in terms of media?
I think, what's the saying that like energy goes where attention flows? Or I might be flipping it. I feel like consumers, folks who are engaging with media, influence the production of it more than we will give ourselves credit.
Yeah.
And so I think our appetite is something we need to address before we talk about entertainers or producers, because they are ultimately only ever meeting demand, so to speak. And so, I don't know, I guess I would ask you that question. Why do you feel like our inclination is to watch the fight video over the uplifting video?
I really don't know, and I've been trying to figure it out, because I've been making a lot of content, it's Black History Month or whatever, so I've been making like a Black History video like every single day or whatever, and I'm like, oh, these numbers not really, you know, looking how I would like them to look. And then like you just go see like the mess, and as much as people like to act like they don't like it, like they tune in, like they pay attention to it more so than the positive stuff. And I honestly have no idea why. I feel like that's just kind of what we've been used to, what we've been used to seeing. But I feel like that's kind of my purpose, is to be here to kind of change that, because there's so much going on, even like not just in Memphis, but like nationally, that Black people just contribute to. I feel like we are the blueprint. I feel like there's a lot of stuff that we don't get credit for. So even though I don't know the answer to that question, I think that I can help change the answer, or help change it in some way.
Definitely doing it. As you were talking, though, I don't know why I thought about food. I guess it's been part of our conversation, but like the fact that the things that we might feel guilty about as it relates to snacks, for example.
Yeah.
Hot Cheetos and Takis, we are drawn to them because of the sensation that they bring about. It's an extreme.
Yeah.
And a truth too is that like with that sensation, there's a trigger up here that gives off that type of dopamine that's at a different level than a carrot will give you. It's the sensation. And I think the same, framing can be applied to the content, right? And so it's like I'm feeling something different when I watch somebody twerk versus when I watch Yo Black History Facts. You know what I'm saying? And so then, how do we, we need somebody twerk and give them Black History Facts is how we, fix that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Just try to incorporate them both. I also wanted to just talk about like how important faith has been to you along this entire journey, like what it's been to you. Have you ever felt any moments like where you wanted to give up, or just talk about that?
Yeah, I think any aspiring creative or entrepreneur has to have like capital F faith. For me, I even in a season, right, navigating the actors and writers strike and the doubt that will come with the, real and valid concern of being able to care for yourself as an artist could push someone to quit. However, I am wired in such a way that I feel like I don't have any other option than to show up in the way that I'm showing up. And, I feel like my faith has been affirmed not only internally, but by the people that I'm doing life with. So my wife, who I've mentioned, my family, and folks around who just affirm the version of myself that I've seen have allowed me to maintain faith. But more than that, I genuinely believe that by continuing to like shine one's light in a way that's specific, that honors like the God-given purpose that we all have, that the creator, God, universe, whatever name you want to put on it, will continue to fuel an individual with the faith, with the energy to keep going, with the idea to continue to the ideas that will help you stay inspired. And so, yeah, for me, it's like I'm nothing without faith.
Yeah. So, okay. Your very first Instagram post is you in a green shirt, and it says "Future Millionaires."
Big fan.
So, so apparently you've been like manifesting this for yourself. So, how important is it for you to like speak prosperity over your life?
Yeah, I mess with you. And that post is symbolic. It's like ritual because I've deleted a lot of stuff, but that one remains. And I wore that shirt as a manifestation practice.
Yeah.
And, I think that practice does work. I think that by owning an idea that you have for yourself in your subconscious mind informs the way you pursue ideas and opportunities. And, I've set goals that will be met that correspond with that shirt, and it's not like a materialistic desire, but one that is in alignment with this like idea of being liberated, of really modeling Black excellence and building something. And that's embedded in my Instagram name too, Bertram Builds, because my goal, my mission is to build community and wealth.
That's dope.
Yeah.
So to close out, you have so many things, like your hands are in so many things right now. Are there any more business ventures that you want to get into, or you think you got too much on your plate right now?
Well, yeah. So what's cool about what I really like, my two focuses in like media and in the like wellness and product space, there are tens if not hundreds of opportunities to be explored in those lanes. And so on the media side, we maintain a line of music business with my wife, who is a songwriter.
She's so good, by the way. She's amazing.
And she outside of the way she shows up, her name is Taliba Safia. outside of the way Taliba shows up as an independent artist, we've been submitting songs for sync for other projects that are not connected to her independent work, and so exploring what media looks like in that realm. There at a time will be some more like short film and eventually feature film projects that'll come out of that line of work. And lastly, in the entertainment space, we're actually in the process of opening up a music venue. I used to run a venue in downtown Memphis. And so we are on pace to open one, at least in the soft opening style, before the end of this year in the Edge District. And so, that's something that we are, investing ourselves and resources in. And lastly, I'll be giving long answers.
It's
feel like
totally fine.
Want the real my real thoughts. And so in the like the Mama Sunry or the wellness line of business, there are so many issues that are plaguing folks, specifically Black people, that I think will be addressed by supplanting some of our existing consumption practices with alternatives. And so in the snack space, eventually we're going to be dropping some dried fruits. Big Pharma is not selling perks. He's selling dried pears. You know what I'm saying?
I can rock with it.
And tart cherry. And so there are a whole lot of, product ideas that we have that we'll continue to get clear on and be dropping in the near future.
Okay. And as far as acting goes, what's the ultimate goal for that, and how are you going to work to achieve it?
Yeah, so for me, I'm excited to get back to season 3 of P Valley.
Sure.
I'm also excited to engage other storytellers in telling stories that, uplift Black folks, that raise consciousness and make people laugh. And so I will continue to audition for works. Like I just mentioned, eventually I'm going to put my producer cap on. And, I think that in this era of like Black entertainment specifically, it feels like a new day. Yeah. And there are so many people outside of the Black community that are curious about our stories. And so the opportunity feels limitless. And so, I'll continue to show up in whatever which way I can to help get those stories out.
Sure.
Yeah.
This has been great. This is a great conversation. You can tell everybody where they can follow you at, your businesses, all the things.
For sure. This has been great. And I appreciate you having me on.
Thank you. I appreciate you for coming.
Yeah. I'm on Instagram at Bertram Bills. And what else? I'm going to get my TikTok going. It's under the same name, I think. Additionally, the Mama Sunry Enterprise, we have a website. We encourage you to go and drop that email so you can stay up to date with what we're doing. It's Mamas, MAMASSUNDRY.co. And let me say this, like with that Mama Sunry stuff, because, I've got aging parents, and I feel like as younger people, it is imperative that we engage our folks in the wellness conversations that we're having. And so if you're not subscribed to the Mama Sunry vibe, get your grandma or your mama to tap in, because we are really looking to do an intergenerational thing and have conversations that'll help keep our loved ones here longer.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Makes sense. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching this episode of See the Good. Be sure to comment, like, subscribe, all the things, and we'll see you next time. Bye.